Surrey. We are the place where God lives. And now I have the pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. Her name is Missy Christensen. She is one of my dearest friends. She has been a practitioner at Inspired Living Campbell River since 2019. But I recently learned that Missy has actually been a practitioner in her whole life. Her friends told me this, that they could always rely on her for answers because she always had that wisdom in her. And I see this wisdom in Missy. She is a licensed coach, a performing artist. She's going up to Prince George in about a week to do 2 shows. So if anyone is traveling up there, they may go see Missy on stage. She is a co-founder of Spirit Circle's online community, a community that I am proudly part of. She's an activist, a self-proclaimed clown. She has an excellent sense of humor. A budding singer, a beautiful singer. And as I mentioned, she's my friend. She realized a long time ago that she's called to grow through embodied learning, which is what she's teaching now, to discover the magic of play and to help people who are also inspired to play. She takes inspiration from the works of Brené Brown and 15 Commitments, and she has done a lot of extensive workshopping. She knows the ins and outs of science of mind as well. One of Missy's favorite motto, which is one of my favorite mottos now, is that if it's happening to me, it is for me. Please welcome Missy Christensen. Yeah. So nice. Oops. Turn myself on. There we go. I'm turning myself on. Hopefully I'll turn you on. Thank you. That was so sweet. Wow. Apparently I'm a good person. Nice to see yourself as others see you, because it doesn't always feel that way. So I'm going to start off with an easy question for you all. And that is, what do you think the purpose of life is? Anyone? Joy. To love. Joy, to love. Love. Grow. Yeah. To grow. Yes. Okay, there's my talk. Done. Yes. So it's in the themes for this month or this year, the CSL themes for this year, and it's also in the themes for these weeks. So just to go back over it, the overall theme for CSL for the year is rising higher and going deeper, or as in yoga, they say root to rise, right? So that's growing, right? That's expanding. Then the theme for the month of February is radical interconnection. So love, right? And then have you guys been following the yes. Weekly? So just to recap, so there's emptying. So emptying the ego side of yourselves in order to make room for an experience of interconnectivity. There was happiness, or what it really means, and the fact that you can be happy. One of the foundational ideas, you can be happy no matter what's going on in your life, because happiness is a choice and a way of being. It's a quest. It is not how I feel today, per se. It's more something that is a little bit more an action verb that I choose. And then the other one was the art of mindful living. And so with that, you can transform difficult situations with potentially difficult people or whatever it may be that you're going on in your life with. By having a mindful space that you're coming from, you're able to transform those things for yourself. And so those are all great ideas. They're nice ideas. But what does it mean? Like, how do you get there? You know, like, oh, I'm just going to be mindful. What does that mean? You know, that doesn't give me any information about how I can get there. And so there's that idea that This is a practice. So when you're practicing, you practice, you're in action. Or what they talk about at home office is this idea of spiritual activism. So divine activism. So being in action. And the Bible says faith without works is dead. So there's a call to being in action, to moving your body, treat and then move your feet, right? So what are actions guided by? There needs to be a why, right? Simon Sinek's thing of find your why. So what's your North Star that you're heading towards? Then that'll be the thing that guides what those actions are, what the mindfulness is, what the thoughts you're telling yourself are. When you get out of your Buddha brain and you're free falling, you kind of go, oh, there it is, and grab it back again, right? So that brings me to my question. What is the purpose of life? And the purpose of life is to evolve and expand. That's what I think. And then how do we evolve and expand? And Science of Mind says there's only two things going on in life at any given time. Does anybody know what those are?
Love and law.
Love and law. Look at you go. Yes. So love and law is rooting and rising. That is this constant evolving. There is love, which is the divine givingness, that which creates and supports its creations, that which connects. And then there is law, the thing that makes things manifest. And so of those two things, which are we? Well, we're not the law, so we're love. So you guys already know this. I'm preaching to the choir. You already know this. And so still a bit vague though. I am love. What does that mean? That's going to show up differently for every person, right? So Science of Mind says that love is the divine givingness and that we are part of the divine givingness. And so the quest is to be in divine givingness, to ask myself, what is mine to do? What's my best next right step that brings me to something that feels like giving, that also then puts me in a place where I'm open to receiving. Because as I give love, love expands. I also then open space within myself for more love to flow back in, right? So that's the action that we're called to. And does that mean that we go through life in a soft way? If I'm love, am I just saying lovely affirmation and being a really nice person? And oh no, it's fine. No, you go ahead of me. It's fine. Oh no, that doesn't bother me. No, it's fine. I don't think so, right? Because being a nice person sometimes means lying. It's actually not in spiritual integrity. It's actually taking the easy way out. It's not stepping up into love. Because the truth about love is that love is a badass. Love is a muscular practice. Love is powerful. Love is, you know, you hear those stories of like a mother whose child is caught under some heavy thing and suddenly they're like, ah, you know, they're the Hulk and they're just moving that. Or love is that person who has been traumatized and yet they still show up and they tell the truth and they allow themselves to be vulnerable, even though maybe someone will think they're weak. That's what love does. Love steps into the darkness, unafraid, maybe with fear on the front end, but stepping in faith towards that darkness. And love can also get angry. So sometimes it doesn't feel like love gets angry, but sometimes one of the most loving things we can do in a situation is to walk away. And there is an anger that is not a muddy anger. So there's anger that is that thing that comes from fear, comes from lack, comes from otherness, where I'm trying to control the situation. And so I'm angry because I don't have control and I want to force everyone else to be like me, you know? Or there is that love that gets angry from a place of righteousness, not self-righteousness, because that's the other kind, that's the muddy kind, but from a place of there is good in the world. There should be good in the world. I can amplify the good in the world. I am called to amplify the good in the world, and this isn't right. And so I will stand. I will take a stand. I will root and I will rise so that I can be seen from a great distance, so that I am strong for those who need me. And we're in a time where there is some stuff going on in the world. People have some ideas, and they're not, depending on the person, the same ideas, right? Some people are upset over here for certain reasons, and some people are upset over here for certain reasons. And everybody's right. Because what we know about the world is nothing's wrong, ever. It's hard to believe. But nothing is wrong. The universe is unfolding as it should. And how do we get a pearl? There's a little piece of sand that gets into that oyster and irritates it. And then the oyster goes, I'm going to react. I'm going to react and I'm going to create something beautiful. And so we need to remember that if I am love and I am part of an infinite universe, that person, that idea, that movement that bothers me is also divine, is also one with God, and is also love in action. So if it's happening to me, it's for me. So if it's happening to me, who here has read the 15 Commitments? Does anybody know that book? So there's this idea in the 15 Commitments above the line and below the line. So when I'm below the line, I'm in a place of victim, villain, hero. So I think I need to be the hero, or someone, if I'm the hero, then someone must be the victim. I think life is happening to me. So there's 4 ways of being in life. 2 of them are below the line, and 2 of them are above the line. And below the line is life is happening to me, or life has to happen by me. I make it all happen myself. I'm not part of a divine beingness that connects me to everybody else. I've got to do this myself. Ooh, that's exhausting. No wonder people burn out. Hop above the line and you get to a place of curiosity. And there, life is happening through me, as me. And so from that place, I'm back in the driver's seat. Well, so if I don't like what's going on, there's something for me to do. So now all of a sudden, that thing that bugs me, if I think that thing is for me, then I go, okay, universe, what's mine to do? If I am righteously angry about something, how do I move that into love? That is love calling me forward. That is love saying, you're needed. You're needed. I'm going to bug you until you listen to me. Right? And so rather than going to that place of, oh my God, everything's going to hell in a handbasket, what are we going to do? This is the proof. This is the proof that it's all awful and we're going to implode. Instead, we go, no, I'm going to move forward into the good. I'm going to root and I'm going to rise. Right? Which brings me to today. Today's theme, I gotta find out where I am because I went off. It's letting go. So there's 2 kinds of letting go as far as I'm concerned. So the first one, who here has read the 4 Pivots? So a few people know this. So Sean Jinwright wrote the 4 Pivots, and it's a call to action, but spiritually guided action. What can we do if there's stuff going on in the world that activism is needed around? And everyone's going to have a different kind of activism. Like some people's activism is going to be out there, not protesting, demonstrate. Difference, right? One is against. One is putting more power and more energy towards that which is undesired. And one is showing up and going, this is what love would do. Here's an idea. Here's a better idea. What if we all did this? Wouldn't that feel good? Right? So his thing is, you got to lean into that. But as you're leaning into that, you want to be careful about whether you're coming from the muddy place or whether you're coming from the clean flow place. So if I'm out there doing something, but I'm doing it from a place of lack and a place of disconnection, then all I'm doing is growing more of that. And so his invitation is, do all those other practices. Go within, be mindful, ask yourself questions, and take your badass, loving self and walk into your shadows. Walk into your shadows and say, if I am in hatred, if I am in otherness, if I am blaming someone else, because we know that when we point one finger out, there's three more pointing back at us. So whatever the story is that I have, there's something in me that that's attaching to. So the invitation is for me to grow. The invitation is, if I'm not able to just go, all right, well, that's your opinion. And I don't go, okay, well, there's something for me to do that's positive around this. And instead I go into, then that's something in me that's calling me forward. It's saying there's something in you that's a little bit shadowy. Let's get some light in there and see what it is. So then when I show up in action, I'm showing up from a place of openness. I'm showing up from a place of love. And the second piece of letting go is letting go of the ideas of lack, the ideas of otherness, and instead grounding back into the fundamental truths, which are the universe is unfolding as it should. The universe doesn't make junk. The universe creates, it supports its creations. And if we are praying for a world that works for all, it means some stuff has to shake up. You know, a world that works for all isn't going to be all like, oh, angels singing. We get there, but maybe we need to do a little bit of badassery first from love, right? And so I want to share with you a little bit from Maya Angelou, since it is the season of nonviolence, and it's also Black History Month, which I choose to demonstrate. Whether anyone else chooses to do that or not, been banished in some places. Maya Angelou says, out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I am a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, bearing in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise. And so how is that daybreak wondrously clear? Because I rise. And if you rise and I rise, then all of a sudden the brightness is amplified. So we are being called by whatever bothers us from that not place of muddiness. That's a call to, let's look at the shadows. If it's muddy, if it has a non-loving message, then that's not the message of a loving universe. That's not the message of divine givingness. But if I am being called, if something bothers me, that is the universe saying, you're ready? What you have to offer is for the world. Come. Do it now. So that's actually the beauty of that sense of discomfort. We don't like to feel discomfort, right? And yet discomfort is a call. Discomfort is literally your inner self, your universe, the goodness that you are one with everybody around, saying, you're here for a reason. Step up, fruit, rise, love, right? So I now want to, and how do we do that? Letting go and living love. I want to tell you what Ernest Holmes says. I'm sure some of you have heard this before. I'm just going to pop it up on my phone here. There we go. So everyone knows who Ernest Holmes is, obviously. Have people heard his Sermon by the Sea? Yes. So you know the concept of 1,000? Yes. We are 1,000. Yes. So what Ernest Holmes says is, find me one person who is for something and against nothing. That's foundational. So easy to be against something. I hate it when blah, blah, blah. Okay, what are you for? And are you willing to root and rise to it? Are you willing to demonstrate? Are you willing to be a beacon of love around that thing? Because that's the call. Find me one person who is for something and against nothing, who is redeemed enough to not condemn others out of the burden of his soul, out of his shadow, her shadow. And I will find another Savior, another Jesus, and an exalted human being. Find me 1,000 such people, and I will show you a new world, a new heaven, and a new earth. So the invitation is, if you don't like the way the river's flowing, better get in there and paddle, because you're being called. You're needed. And so my desire is, if you'll play with me, who's willing to play? Yeah? Okay. You can stand if you want to, or you can sit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to end with a spiritual mind treatment. But I'd like you to just take a second and think about whatever that still small voice is within you that kind of burns and you go, yeah, but I can't do that because I'm just me, right? And instead, think of what is something that you can do in this next week that will take you out of whatever your fear thoughts might be and will take you more into love. And for some people, depending on where you are, that may be, I need to look at some shadows. I need to sit with someone. I need to talk to a practitioner. I need to get a bigger idea. That may be where you start. It may be, I'm going to have a conversation with that neighbor that I absolutely disagree with. I'm going to hold my tongue and walk away. Say I have to go to the bathroom with that family member that is going off. Because part of that too is the most loving thing to do is, I'm not trying to change you. Who here likes it when people disagree with them and try to change them? Nobody, right? And yet we feel in our self-righteousness that that's an okay thing to do to people. So instead, what's a loving way to show up? Well, you can talk about something you do agree about, right? You can talk about a hockey game. Maybe that's a touchy subject, depending on which side you're on. But just so I'm going to give you a second, and then I'm going to start the spiritual mind treatment. And when it comes to the place where we affirm, I invite you, if you're willing, to yell out something. It could be something small. It can be, I'm just going to write loving thoughts every day, or I'm going to go help at the soup kitchen, or whatever it is. Who's in? Yeah. I know. I hate it when people ask me, don't you hate that? I hate it when people ask me to stand up and do things with them. But you know what? We are powerful beings and the world needs us. And if we can't stand up in a safe space with friends who are talking about love and say, I'm going to show up this week as love in this way, come on. Right? There's some shadow going on. And that's okay. If there is, be where you are. It's all love. Okay? Okay. So have a second to think. So here's what I know. I know that there is only one divinely powerful universe, the truth of which is love in action. And I know that each and every person in this room and in the world is an agent of that divinity. I know that the universe is absolutely unfolding as it should, and that each and every person who is here in this moment is here because they have a job to do, a part of that work of art, a part of that mosaic. And so this is what I affirm. I affirm that I am love. And this is how I choose to show up this week in love. Who's brave enough to say?
In my words and my actions, loving kindness.
In your words and in your actions, loving kindness. Yes.
Being present.
Being present. Yes.
Speaking my truth.
Speaking your truth. Yes.
Being courageous.
Being courageous. Yes.
Shining the love and the light that I am.
Shining the love and the light that you are. Yes.
Root rise, allowing for vulnerability and then demonstrate.
Root rise, vulnerability, and demonstration. Awesome.
Creating more connections.
Creating more connections. Yes, thank you.
Forgiveness of self and others.
Forgiveness of self and others. Yes, we start with self. So that's, as John Jenwright says, we can be clear.
Accepting my mother and letting go of my job.
Accepting my mother and letting go of my judgment. Anybody else? Okay. Yes, all this and more, this and more. I see it, I know it, and I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful for the good that is bubbling in each and every person in this room. I'm grateful for the power within us to move. I'm grateful for our interconnected humanity that allows us to know the other as self. And I am grateful for the love that is everywhere present, even when it doesn't feel like it. And so with this gratitude, I let go into the law that takes what I feel into it and makes it so. And I know that right here and right now, this room has created even more love in the world. That is emanating out to the rest of the world. And I promise you, as you go through the rest of your day, the more you ground into that, the more you will see it. And so I let go, knowing it is already so, it is already happening. And together we say,
online community and everyone here. I had one here from Ram Das. It says, suffering is grace. However, you may want to interpret that.
I've talked for that day.
And so I bless this basket that is a demonstration of love and the circulation that is always percolating in and around. Thank you very much for all your contributions. And I have my beautiful prac sisters here with me today. And I want you to know that we are available to provide you with the service of prayer, support if you need it, or if you just want to really deepen your knowledge of that good and love that is already yours. We can also help you with that. It's not necessarily support around something that is necessarily bad or surfacing, but we can definitely help you with those shadows that Missy was touching on and provide you with support, whether you need it today after service, between service and drumming, or whether you would like to have a full session. You can book a practitioner lesson with us or a session with us, and we can have a longer one-on-one with you. And for our online community members, I just like to let you know that there is Pamela who's available to support you with prayer after the service is over. And now I would like to do our final affirmation, which is, some of you may know. Please repeat after me. If you stand up, if you are able to or can. Something wonderful is happening in me right now.
Something wonderful is happening in me right now.
It's this thing called life.
It's this thing called life.
Is this thing called love?
It's this thing called love.
Is this thing called universal love? But you can put whatever you'd like in there. Shout it out.
It's this thing called
Demonstrate.
I know it.
I know it.
I feel it.
I feel it.
I express it.
I express it.
I am it.
I am it.
And so it is. Thank you very much for being here today. And thank